I'm Jilly from Jilly's Creative Corner. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and this week we have just launched our new annual catalogue. So the catalogue runs from May the 4th to next May. This is the catalogue. Today I'm going to be using a bundle. I'll show you when I get back to the table, but it's called Flowers of Friendship bundle, and it's the stamp set and a punch. So it's really easy to use, sat at your table. You don't have to get your cutting machines out, it's just a punch. We're also going to show you a technique. It's a bit messy. You do need gloves and a paper plate and shaving foam. So it's the shaving foam technique, but it makes beautiful background. I'm going to be using the new in colour inks that have just been launched this week in this catalogue, and I've got some samples to show you of the colour combinations you can mix, and we will be mixing some today. So I'll just turn the camera off now, and you'll be able to see my hands in a minute. Okay, see you soon. Okay, so I'm back now with my hands, and just wanted to very quickly go through this is the 5 in colours and what you get that coordinates it all. So if you're into your pinks, this is the polished pink. This is the new in colour and it runs from now until 2023. So you get your stamping ink pad, you get your ink refill, you get a lovely ribbon. I always stick it down just so it doesn't run off on the reel. So there it is, opened up. You get the alcohol markers, blender pens. You get the matching water-based marker pen, and they've got a pack of pattern paper that matches the 5 colours. So if I just take the pink ones, so you've got 2, so you've got that design, four of that design, 4 of that design, flip it over, 4 of that design, 4 of that design, and that comes in all the 5 colours as well. So that would be the pink version, and this is the this one is called Soft Succulent. So that is that colour there. Your next colour is, this one is called Fresh Freesia. So beautiful. This is the pattern paper that you get. That's that one there. Flip it over. Next one is Pale Papia. I think that's how you say it, papia. So it's like a pale orangey yellowy colour. So again, got those, and that's not very good, is it? You have 4 of each design, those and those. And last but not least is Evening Evergreen. This is a beautiful deep green colour, so exactly the same. Oh. There we go, so exactly the same. That's one side, flipped over the other side. So all those, there's your cardstock. That's your A4 cardstock. You also can get, for those of us who make boxes and bigger items, you can also get 12 by 12 packs of 12 by 12. So I think you get 4 pieces of each colour in 12 by 12 cardstock. So that's your paper. And so there's all your, if I just pop these in here. So those are all the new in colours. There. Oh, there. So that was just a quick run through of the colours. Today we are going to be using these little bottles of ink refill. So these little bottles are fab. So once you've bought your ink pad, then these little refills, you can refill your ink pads with them when they, you know, you've used them a lot and they dry out a little bit. Refill it, you don't have to buy a new ink pad. You can also refill these marker pens with this ink. I can't quite remember, it's something about taking the tip out, but there is a YouTube video somewhere on YouTube that shows you how to re-ink these marker pens. I think I'm right in saying that. There certainly was a few years ago, so I think I'm right in saying that. So that's all your colours. I think it's a good range of colours, so it pretty much speaks to a lot of people. I forgot to say they also come with this little pack of jewels. So what you get is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So you get 10 smaller ones and 10 slightly bigger, but they're not huge. So they're really, you know, they're a good size, and that's each of the 5 colours. So I'll show you those on a card sample I've got to show you. Again, so this is why I always say that Stampin' Up make life so much easier for us to make cards and gift boxes, because we don't have to rush around thinking, oh, what's going to match this then, and that's what takes the time, isn't it, really? Not making the card, but the design, and also what cardstock matches, what embellishments, etc. So Stampin' Up just take the hard work out for us. Right, so I'm just going to pop this all away, and I'll get back to you to show you the cards that we're going to make and show you how to do a shaving foam technique. I have no idea if that's the correct name for it, but you use shaving foam and it's a technique. So that's what I'm calling it. Just wanted to also add that all those colours that I just showed you, they do actually have their own ribbon. All the same, same sort of ribbon, the sheer in the middle and more solid colour on the outside, but we have one to match every new in colour. I did forget to pop the ribbons on each pile, but just to show you that there is. Everything's individually priced, so you know you could just buy 1 or 2 of the things. I just wanted to show you everything that was coordinating together, just to make life easier for us. Right, so what you need for this technique is a pair of gloves, a paper plate, a stirry thing, I guess you know, those wooden skewer things would work. Have quite a long handle because you don't really want your fingers right into it if you don't have to. But I think we got these at Costa Coffee when, you know, they have them for stirring your coffee. Don't all run off and steal those though, for goodness sake, I'll get into trouble. Okay, and some shaving foam. And don't get into trouble with your husbands. You don't need the best shaving foam. This is just Tesco's Everyday Value One, and you don't need too much of it, so it does last a long time. So that's what you need first of all, and then I'll just show you the different papers. So when I did my samples, just to show you some samples, I used I knew that I wanted my cards to be 4 by 4, so I cut a ordinary piece of basic white, so the thinner version of our basic white. So I cut one of those at 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. I cut one of the thicker versions because I wasn't sure if the paper got wet it would be too bendy and might not dry out as well if it's you know, a thinner cardstock, so I wanted to try them all really. So that was the thinner one, then I went with the thicker one. Then watercolour paper. So this is our Stampin' Works watercolour. It's Fluid 100 watercolour paper. So I went with a piece of that. And then we do what we call shimmer paper. So it's not white. If I put it up against a white piece, you'll see that it's not white, but it shimmers. And I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but if I put it quite up close, you might. But it's got a little like twinkle, sparkly bits all the way through it, and it's a little bit thicker paper, and it usually stands up for quite well to watercolouring and stuff because it doesn't bend and warp. So I tried the technique with all 4 of these pieces. They came out really well on all of them, very different. I mean, watercolour paper is very textured, so you've got a texture within it as well, and then the sparkle, you've got bits of sparkle coming out of the paper. But the thinner Whisper White was just as good. It didn't bend out of shape. I was able to use it. So if I just show you the cards I've actually made up with them at the moment, that one there. So that is the background that I'm going to show you how to make, and that is the what I'm calling the shaving foam technique. So that one there was on ordinary basic white. So this was the first piece of cardstock I put into the shaving foam mix. This is the second piece I put in, so you can see the pink is blended into the shaving foam quite a lot more. Then I decided to add some evening evergreen, because it's actually a beautiful colour, but it's quite a rich colour, and I used so here it is. So we went from that, then that, and then by adding green on watercolour paper, this is watercolour paper, it went extremely green, and I had added a bit more of the pale papier as well. So we literally went, this is how great this technique is, because you can start off with the same plate of shaving foam and colour and go from that to that to that by adding a completely different colour, and then we went to that, and that was all just one plate, and that was just really because I was trying out different colours just to see, just to show you really. So this was watercolour paper, this one, and then I added a lot more of the freesia, fresh freesia, and some more pink into it. So we only had splodges of green then, and more of the freesia and the pink. So that was starting with that, going all the way down, just adding different colours in. So then, oh sorry, and that one is the shimmery paper. Right, so now we are going to start making a mess. So what we need, as I said, is a paper plate. Do need some gloves, wooden stirrer, and shaving foam. So my cards are 4x4. So the base card is 4 inches wide by 8 long, scored at 4. So then you want to cut the layer that you're going to use at 3 7/8 by 3 7/8, and that just gives you then a small border all the way round, so you can pick up the green. Because there's 5 new in colours. There's the 2 green ones that we talked about, so I'm going to use both the green ones, and I'm going to use the pale papaya, and not going to use the pink ones this time. And then my base card colours, I've got the evening evergreen, and then I've got one of the soft succulent. So that's going to be my base cards. Again, they're 4 inches by 8 inches, scored at 4 inches. So the first thing that you want to do, you want to shake your shaping foam, and you want to just put it, oh, that's a bit noisy. That's very noisy. I didn't know it was going to be that noisy, but never mind. So spread it round, make it deep. Then you bring in your wooden stirrer or whatever you've got, and push it down, because you want it quite thick, because you're going to push the card into it. But whatever size paper that you're using, you want to spread it out so that it's going to accommodate that size paper, because you don't want to end up with a piece of paper hanging over the edge that's got no colour on it. So I want mine at least to be 3 7/8, so I would aim at 4. And one other thing you will need, that I forgot to say, is a little bit of kitchen foil, a kitchen roll. I did say it was a bit messy, but the effects are amazing. So before I add any colours to it, I just want to make sure that that's my piece. This is the shiny one. I just want to make sure that when I push that in, I'm going to get it all covered. So I might bring a bit more out here. And you want it probably about an inch or an inch and a half thick, because you don't want to push it in and then find that you've hit the paper plate underneath, and then when you push this in you haven't got any. Now I'm going to put on my gloves. Okay, so now I learnt from my last one that this evening evergreen is quite a deep colour, and it did take over a bit, so I'm only going to put a few drops of this on. I think what I'll do is I'm going to put the majority of it, I want to be pale papaya, so I'm going to just unscrew the lid, and then you just put drips all the way around. And then you come in, I'm going to come in with this soft succulent first. So just add some drops of this one, just in and around where you've put the other colour. And then I'm just going to put a few drops of this evening. You can always add to it afterwards, but I'm just going to put a few drops of this one in. So there's one there, put one over here. Okay. So you keep those close by, because you can put some more on if you want to. So then you just get the side of your and just run it through. I think, not that I make these to decorate cakes, but I think if you were a cake decorator you would do this. I think some cakes have this sort of pattern, don't they, where you pull it all through. See, that's got quite a lot of green. I might come back in a minute. So you're just stroking those colours, those drops of colours in. I think this one's getting a little bit lost, so I'm going to pop a little bit more on there. So I'm only gently, I'm not dragging it through, I'm just very gently, like almost like a feather running through it. You get your first piece and you put it on the top like so, and then you just push it in. Make sure you get it all covered, all corners. And lift it up from the corner. Then you get your scraper and you just scrape it off. You see the beautiful colours coming out. Just scrape it on the plate. So the colours are already stained on there now. That's not going to come off. And turn it over, just get any residue off the back. And see how beautiful and totally unique that is. You would put this, you're going to put another piece back in there, but you will never get that pattern again. That is totally unique to this card. And just pop that to one side and let it just dry off. It dries quite quickly. And then what I do is you bring this all back in, wind it up again, because you've got some very white still. You're probably going to find, like happened in the other one, where the green is going to blend in quite a lot. So you're going to get, where that's very much a white background, I don't know if you could still do it. This one's probably going to be quite a pale minty green background. So I'm just going to... Now you can either put that straight back in like that, or you can add a bit more colour to it. So I'm going to pop that to one side there. I think what I'm going to do is add a little bit more of the pale papier. Just line it through, exactly the same. And you can add any colour inks. I'm just using the beautiful new In Colour inks that Stampin' Up! Bought out. So I'm just going to bring in now, which one's this? This is the thick basic white. So I'm just going to pop that down in now. Okay, pull that out. And that is quite a lot paler. again, totally unique. You'll not get that colour again, even if you tried. And when the colour's on there, just the scraping off is not going to take the colour away because it's already sort of embedded into the card. So that colour is going to stay. It doesn't take long to dry at all. Just make sure you scraped it all off. So there is the first one that you put in very first. They're all fresh. That's the second one where we've mixed it in a lot more. That's 2. So now I'm going to bring it all back in again. You still have some white. You know, you still have some white left in the foam that hasn't been touched yet by ink. So just scrape it all up. It is a little bit messy, but I'm not sure I'd let the children loose with it. I think you might have redecorated walls if you tried. So you can see, I hope, that that's gone quite a pale, like a very pale green now. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to add the watercolour paper now. So I think what I'm going to do is I finished making a mess. Let me just double check I've got that. So this is the watercolour paper. It's got texture all on it, and that's quite a pale colour now. I'm going to put some more of the deep, I'm going to put some more of the yellow, I keep forgetting the name, pale papia. I'll just put a bit more of that in. But I'm also going to put a little bit of this dark in. Not a lot. So just 3 drops. And then we're going to so you don't want to blend it in too much because you do want to be able to see. I can't tell you enough how delicate, you know, it's very almost feather-like. You're not dragging it through because I think it would just pull it apart a little bit too much. So let me just take it off there. Get off my fingers a bit. Right, this is the watercolour paper. So here that goes like that. So you push it in, you know, I'm only tapping it, but you want it to go right in so that the colour is transferring onto the paper. Again, another unique colour. Never going to get that again. That's one thing about card making, isn't it? Everybody makes cards slightly different. You could give the same design to 10 people. You know, and let them, say, do their own backgrounds, but the basic design be the same, and you'll get 10 different cards. Because if you did this as a background, even if somebody else did it, nobody's going to have the same background as this. So there, Oh, just get that bit off there. I'm getting on my fingers now, so I have to be careful. So there is the next one. So the first one was the shimmer paper. The second one was just thick paper. The third one was watercolour paper. And then the last one I'm just going to do as, it's disgusting, doesn't it? I think what I might do is not add any more colour to it. It's literally, so we'll all see what happens. It might just look like a smudge, but that's the whole game, isn't it? Of seeing what happens. So I have no idea, because it doesn't look like there's any swirls in it, but we want to have a look, don't we? We want to just see what's it going to look like if we just right, here goes. It just looks like a mush. However, let's see what happens. Right, okay. So, oh wow, okay. So it has picked up some flecks. Oh, bits of yellow. Well, looks okay to me. It's got a few flecks. It's even got, I don't know if you can see, it's even got some little flecks of the yellow in it there. Cool. So that's what you're left with. That's going straight in the bin. But it, you know, this shaving foam doesn't cost much at all, and so far with the samples I've made to show you, there was 6 samples and now another 4. That's 10 cards, and this is still pretty full. Right, so this is what we now have cleared away the mess. So this was the first one, and this was on shimmery paper. It's tricky to see and the camera, but there's quite a lot of colour on there as well. So that was the first one, so it's still got some white in the background. And the second one was this one, where it's the background is more muted pale green with flecks running through it. So then this is watercolour paper. This is thick cardstock, basic white cardstock. This is watercolour, where I added the extra green and pale papia. And that's watercolour paper. And this is one where I added nothing. It was the end of all this. I added nothing, but it's still got lovely flecks running through it of the darker green and the yellow. There's little flecks of the yellow. You'll see this is curling up a little bit, but when you get glue on the back of it, it'll be absolutely fine. So that's what came out of the lovely shaving foam technique. So I'm just going to show you how to just make up one of these cards. I'll go with this one. So I've got my 4 inches by 8 inches cardstock, 3 7/8 by 3 7/8 that's going to sit on the top. I'm going to put some of the ribbon that matches the cardstock. This one is Evening Evergreen. So I'm going to pop that over like that, pop that on there, and then I've got the Pale Papier cardstock and the green for the leaves. And this is the set. This is a brand new set. It comes as part of a bundle, so if you buy it as the bundle you get 10% discount on it. It punches out the large flower, the small flower, and both those leaves. Next week I will do a card using this exact set again, because you can use this one and add these leaves onto the side to make it more of a wow. So there's lots of ways to use this set. It's a beautiful set, and as you all know by now, I do love my flowers. So it is called so the stamp set is called Flowers of Friendship, and then it comes with the it's a Flowers of Friendship bundle. You get 10% off. So if you just buy the stamp set, it's £20. If you just buy the punch, £17. So that would be £37. But if you buy it as a bundle, it comes out at £33.25. The other punch we will be using is the rectangular postage stamp, and that is £17 as well. But that's a really useful one. That's where I punched out these two labels here. So right, so I'm just going to be using a piece of the ribbon, the coordinating ribbon, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it around the middle like that. So it's got a bit of texture going through it. So I'll just get a piece of this. Just run a piece down the middle. We want the actual middle. Going to be somewhere around the 2-inch. Mark there. A bit too long, but we can just cut that off. And I'm just going to pop some glue on the back. So you just want a fine border all the way around, so I always tip it forward so that I can see that it's got the fine border each side, and then drop it down like so. So that you've got that so far, and then I'm going to bring in, so on these cards I've used this way. But because I want to use a different, on these cards I've used a little card, a big thanks. So part of the stamp set, you've also got thank you for everything, many thanks from all of us. But then going this way down, you've got life is better with friends like you. So I'm going to use that one today. So therefore I need it to go this way, like so. So I'm just going to, first of all, they have this lovely little border of flowers. So what I'm first of all going to do, I'm going to bring this in, and I'm going to do colour on colour, so same ink colour. I'm just going to ink up half of it because I only need it across that top bit. just going to stamp there. This just puts a bit of decoration on that bit there. Actually, I'll leave that open. Come in with a sponge dauber, and I am going to sponge all the edges of this. I'm going to put that down. I'm actually going to just do the edges of this one too. So one thing that you can do, because each of the words is individual, so because we've got 3 colours going on there, which is these 3 colours, you can just highlight. So if you did that one there, and then that one there, the same. These are with the marker pens, water-based marker pens. And that one there. And then come in. Oh, just missed a bit on there. So I have ideas, I'm sure you guys do too. You have ideas and you think, well, let's see what it looks like. So I don't want to put it on my main piece. So I'm going to get a scrap and just see if I actually like what it looks like. But that's what's good about these. When you've got individual words like this and they're not blending into each other, you can ink them up with the marker pens in the colours that you wanted them to be. So then, as I've shown you before, you huff them. So I'm just going to put them on a scrap and see what it looks like. Now, let's see. I like that. So that is actually what I'm going to do. So I'll just go over it again. You get these marker pens with every single colour that Stampin' Up do. So whatever ink pad you can get a refill. Oops, that wasn't very good, Jilly. You get a refill with it, and you also can buy marker pens. Just going to get that off. Get that one off. Always do it with the sides of your marker pens, not the tips. You don't want to break the tips. And then huff, and I'll just bring this in now. So you can do this any way you like. I punched the Whisper White out and prepped it, and then I'm going to stamp on it. But you could do it the other way. You could stamp and then punch it out afterwards, whatever you find easiest. There. That blends in lovely then with the colours. I'm going to have that as a backing, like so. So what I need to do is just glue the top half. I'm only gluing the top half because when I turn it over you'll see, because I want those flowers to show. You know, there's not a load of leaking glue. So then I'm going to come in with my dimensionals. do tend to be a little bit of overkill with my dimensionals, but I like to know it's not moving anywhere that I don't want it to. Take all the backs off. Just want it to be, I only eyeball it really. I want it to be as middle as my eyes say it is. So that's that so far. And now I'm going to bring in, so you've got a large flower and a small flower. I'm going to bring in the small flower and the leaves, the two size leaves. So when you bring in the large, well, either of the flowers actually, probably more, if you were going to do the large flower, stamp it so that it's on the long way, so that when you bring it in, you just have to go into there. Obviously this isn't wide enough because I'm not using the big one, but you just have to go into that top bit, and it cuts down the waste of your paper. But because I need to go into this one here, I need it to go in the side door like so. Because this has to go through the side door here to cut it, that's also going to cut a bit of that cardstock there. But I need it this wide for the flower. So don't do your flowers close together. This is the pale papier. So I'm going to stamp one and then bring it in, punch it, and then I can see, otherwise you waste a lot of time and effort. So you pop it in there, eyeball it up, punch it out. So there's your flower. But you then know if you just cut that side off, then you do the next one. And you're wasting minimal paper then. Then you've still got that bit left and you've only got that bit waste. Now there is an art, if you're concentrating on saving and not using lumps of your cardstock, when you do your leaves, so you've got the larger leaf there and the smaller leaf there. So when you look at your leaf, this is the larger leaf, and it goes to a point there and then a squiggle and a point there. So when you see that that's for that one there, you know that you want to stamp it on your card that way, so that it goes in. If you stamped it that way, then you're going to have to go right across to try and get the shape right. So if you see that the pointy bit is down there, so you bring in your inks, then you can actually stamp quite a few at the same time. So you know it's that way round. So you're going to ink up your leaf, stamp, ink up your leaf, stamp, ink up your leaf, stamp. Then you're going to bring it in this way, and it fits perfectly. So there's one. Move that a little bit, but still be all right. There's two. And then when you've got just a little bit left and you've got nothing to hang on to because you don't want to come in from this way, what you do is you get a piece of post-it note. Where would we be without post-it notes? Tap it on the end there. That gives you something to hold on to. And then you push it in that way. there's your three. So you've got the smaller leaf, you're looking at going the other way. So here's your smaller leaf, that's going in the other side, so you're going to be poking it through from that side. So you want it to go, here's your piece again. So you want it to go from the bottom this time, where we went from the top last time down, you want to go from the bottom up this time. So stump, 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 oh, we could probably get the fourth one in there. So then you're coming down in to there, line that up. I don't know if you can see that. There's one. Then what I would do now, because you've got all those bits on the end, stick this bit on there, and then you can push this through the other way. To line that one up. Oop. To line that last one up there. So far I've hit a bullseye on the ink pad every time. So then you've got three big ones, four little ones, and only a little bit of waste. I'm going to bring these in now, and so I'm just going to bend at the leaves, the petals I should say, and I want to decide where I want to put them. Always place them before you add glue or glue dots to them, because you might change your mind. And then also some of them you can glue dots straight onto the base that you're working with. Some of them you might want to glue on the back of the actual flower. So by doing it like this, you get to decide how you want them to be. I think I want a leaf in there. Yep, I think that's how I will have it. So then I'm going to come in with my glue dots. So if you want them to stick to your flowers, then you want to put the glue dot on the leaf and then stick it to your flower. If you want to stick it to the base, then stick it straight onto the base. Do I want to tuck that under there and that on there? So we've got those like that. So see where I mispunched it there, you can just hide that behind the flower so it's not wasted, because the top bit looks fine. Because this is on dimensionals, these can tuck under a bit as well. So the final decision, after faffing around, I've decided to bring this one down and then this one to come down here like this. Might actually pop a dimensional on the back of this one actually, just to get over the top. So it stands up. And then I'm finally going to bring in my little sparkles. My cards wouldn't be cards without a bit of sparkle on them. Now we have the pale papier, so I'm going to pop the little ones in the middle of the flowers. So that's three little ones in the flowers, and then some of the greeny ones. Put one there, one down there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Less is more. So I keep being told less is more, Jilly. Less is more. I don't know if it is sometimes. So what we'll do to finish off the card, bring in a piece of ordinary basic white, exactly the same size as this front layer, 3 7/8 by 3 7/8, and pop it in the middle there. Just put a flower. Put your flowers in there, and then you could pop it in there, and then you can put a sentiment in the middle, depending what it is. I'm going to leave mine for now. It's probably end up a birthday card, but I don't want to put it in there at the moment. So I won't put my sentiment in the middle, but you can put your sentiment in there. And actually just use some liquid glue to finish this off. Again, don't put it too close to the edge, you don't want it all squidging out the side. Now you've made a beautiful card and you get glue stuck all in that. Oh, mine's not wanting to come out. Come on. Every time I do a video, my glue says, nah, not playing. So, and obviously you can put your decoration wherever you want to put it. Could be top corner, bottom corner, middle. Okay. So there's one of the cards that we've made with the shaving foam technique, but these are all the other ones that I did. You can see the difference where that's had no pink near it at all, and that had pinks in it, and the deep green, and the pale paella. I would never get that right. Papaya. You can see how different those two cards actually are. So I've just finished decorating the cards that I started this morning. So this was the one that I did for the video, and then I've done the other 3 this afternoon, all using the in colours, the green, the 2 greens and the pale I'm at it again, papaya. And this label put up here is this punch here, and everything else was done with this punch and this stamp set. So now you can see how you can decorate them. I hope you enjoyed the shaving foam technique. You can see how different all the backgrounds are, and I really hope you try it yourself. And next time I will be using this stamp set and this bundle again, just to show you that there are a lot more other ideas from using that bundle. So thank you so much for watching. It'd be great if you could subscribe to my channel, so you know that when I've released a new video. Every Tuesday they're released at 2 o'clock, and I've also got an Instagram account and Pinterest account, and also a blog, which is jillyscreativecorner.co.uk. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.